When a relationship ends, most people make the mistake of pouring all their energy into chasing what slipped away. They become consumed with questions. How can I get her back? What should I say? What should I do to make her change her mind? But here's the truth: the more you chase, the more you repel. The more you beg for love, the more unattractive you appear. And not because she doesn't care, but because desperation is the opposite of strength. Attraction is rooted in energy, and the energy of lack only creates more lack. So instead of trying to control her decisions, redirect that focus back to yourself. This is where true transformation begins. You see, the most magnetic force in the world is self-growth. When you rise, when you evolve, when you show that you are not the same man she walked away from, something shifts in the dynamic. It's no longer about convincing her with words. It's about embodying a new version of yourself that speaks louder than words ever could. Think about it. If you stay the same person she left, why would she come back? Nothing changes if nothing changes. The reason she walked away is tied to the version of you she experienced. But if that version disappears, replaced by a man who is stronger, wiser, and more grounded, she cannot help but notice the difference. This isn't manipulation, it's evolution. You're not faking confidence or pretending to be okay. You're genuinely building a life that is worth living, with or without her. And this shift is not only external, it's deeply internal. It's about reclaiming your self-worth. Too often, people think that love is about completing each other. But that's not true. Love should amplify you, not define you. When you understand that you are whole on your own, you stop acting from a place of need. And when neediness disappears, attraction naturally returns. Because what every woman wants at her core is not a man who needs her to survive, but a man who is thriving in his own right, yet chooses to share his life with her. This is why self-focus is so powerful. Instead of asking, what can I do to make her notice me again? Ask, what can I do to make myself proud of the man I am becoming? Start building the body you always wanted. Pursue the goals you kept postponing. Cultivate the discipline that once slipped away. Every step toward your own greatness rewires, not just how she sees you, but how you see yourself. And when your self-image changes, the world responds differently to you. The irony is this: the moment you stop obsessing about her return and start focusing entirely on your evolution, is the exact moment she begins to feel your absence. She senses that your energy has shifted, that you're no longer waiting at the door with desperation in your eyes. Instead, she sees you moving forward, and it creates a silent, powerful question in her mind. Did I lose someone who was far greater than I realized? That curiosity alone is enough to reopen the doors that once felt closed. But remember, this cannot be faked. Women can feel the difference between a man pretending to grow for her approval and a man genuinely growing for himself. Do it because you deserve it. Do it because your life has meaning beyond any one relationship. Do it because you are worthy of respect and love, first from yourself and then from others. And so, if you want her to come back, the answer is not out there. It's in here. It's in the discipline you build, the peace you cultivate, and the strength you embody. Focus on you, become undeniable, and she will return not because you chased her, but because you rose so high that coming back to you became the only path that made sense. The truth is simple: when you become the man you were meant to be, love doesn't have to be begged for, it finds its way back naturally. One of the greatest paradoxes in relationships is that the more tightly you try to hold on to someone, the faster they slip away. We think that by showing more love, more attention, more effort, we can convince them to return. But in reality, clinging energy pushes them further. Why? Because no one is drawn to desperation. Desperation suffocates. True attraction grows in space, not in pressure. This is where emotional detachment becomes the most powerful tool you can practice. Now, detachment doesn't mean coldness, and it doesn't mean that you stop caring. It simply means you stop depending on her presence for your sense of worth and peace. It's a shift from grasping to groundedness, from needing to choosing. And once that shift happens, you create a new atmosphere around you. One that draws people in, instead of driving them away. Imagine this: if someone knows you will always be there waiting, always available at every call, always ready to forgive without growth, then where is the mystery? Where is the spark? Human beings are wired to value what requires effort, what carries an air of unpredictability, what cannot be taken for granted. By detaching emotionally, you remind her, and more importantly, yourself, that your love is valuable. It cannot simply be demanded. It must be earned. And let me make this very clear: detachment is not a game. It's not about pretending you don't care, while secretly checking your phone every 5 minutes, waiting for her text. That kind of pretending only exhausts you and fools no one. True detachment is an inner liberation. It's the calm decision that your happiness does not live in her hands. You can love her, you can hope for reconciliation, but you will not collapse without it. That steadiness is what makes you unshakable, and that is deeply attractive. Think about the most magnetic people you know. They are not the ones chasing approval or clinging to others. They are the ones who stand tall in their identity, who radiate a kind of quiet confidence that says, "I am whole, and I am enough." That kind of energy pulls people in because it feels rare in a world full of neediness. And that is the energy you must step into now. When you detach, something powerful happens. She begins to feel the absence of your old patterns. She no longer senses you orbiting around her, and that creates space for curiosity to grow. Curiosity is the seed of attraction. She starts to wonder, why is he not calling? Why does he seem so focused on his own life? Has he outgrown me? Did I misjudge his worth? Those questions stir emotions in her that chasing never could. And here's the beauty. Even if she doesn't come back right away, detachment ensures that you are free. Free from the constant emotional rollercoaster. Free from the anxiety of waiting for her response. Free from losing yourself in someone else's choices. You take back control of the only thing you ever truly owned, yourself. You see, love that is forced never lasts. Love that is chosen freely, out of respect and admiration, is the only love that stands the test of time. By detaching, you give her the gift of choice. You give her the chance to miss you, to desire you, to come back not because you begged, but because she realized your value on her own. And whether she returns or not, you stand stronger, wiser, and more complete. So let me leave you with this truth: emotional detachment is not the end of love. It's the purification of love. It's the removal of fear, of clinging, of desperation. And when love is freed from fear, it either returns with greater strength or makes space for something far better. The moment you stop needing is the moment you start attracting. There comes a moment after heartbreak when you have to decide what kind of man you are going to become. Will you let the pain define you, or will you allow it to refine you? Because here's the truth: no woman is inspired by a man who has lost himself in grief, who has no direction, no vision, no sense of who he is outside of the relationship. A woman is drawn to strength, not in the form of arrogance or dominance, but in the form of purpose. She is pulled toward a man who is moving somewhere, a man who is building, a man who has a fire inside him that cannot be extinguished by loss. When you lead with desperation, you make her the center of your universe, and that is too heavy a burden for anyone to carry. No person should be responsible for your happiness, your confidence, or your sense of worth. When you place that weight on her, you strip away the very energy that attracted her to you in the first place. But when you lead with purpose, something shifts. You stop orbiting around her, and you begin walking your own path, and that is magnetic, because purpose is irresistible. Think of it this way: imagine a man who wakes up every day with a mission, who invests his energy into growth, who is building his health, his career, his spirituality, his impact on the world. Even if she is not by his side, she cannot help but notice the glow of his life moving forward. And deep inside, she feels the pull of that vision, because women don't want to follow a man. They want to walk beside a man who knows where he is going. Purpose creates direction, and direction creates security. This doesn't mean you stop loving her, or that you bury your feelings. It means you stop letting those feelings consume your life. Instead, you transmute them into fuel. Pain becomes discipline, rejection becomes redirection, loneliness becomes focus. Every setback becomes the raw material for your transformation. And in that process, you rise. Not because you are trying to prove something to her, but because you are proving something to yourself. And here's the irony: the moment you begin leading with purpose, she begins to see you differently. Not because you tried to convince her, not because you chased her, but because you became a man who is once again admirable. She sees that you are not drowning in heartbreak, but swimming toward destiny. And that is the kind of man a woman respects. That is the kind of man she reconsiders. But understand this: purpose is not a strategy to get her back, it is a way of life. If you make it about her, it loses its power. If you make it about you, your growth, your mission, your contribution, then whether she comes back or not, you win. You win because you have become a man who commands respect, who radiates confidence, who knows his worth. And that kind of man never loses. So don't sit around waiting for her message, her call, her approval. Stand up, look at the life in front of you, and ask, what legacy am I building? What path am I walking? What vision am I serving? Because when you pour yourself into that, when you live from that place of strength and direction, you don't just become someone she wants to return to. You become someone you are proud to be, with or without her. And here's the final truth: love may bring her back, or it may not, but purpose will always bring you forward.